Kim here with Lead Generation Source, and today I want to talk about New Year's resolutions that start on September 1st. Okay, you go, wait, Kim, what did you say? New Year's resolutions that start on September 1st. That's just crazy. Well, every Thanksgiving, I start to think about the new year, and that's probably because my daughter's birthday is at the end of November, which of course makes me think about the next year before her next birthday and all the things that I need to get done. Since I start thinking about the new year, I start to think about what I want to do next year. So in this case, 2019. Then when December starts, I start thinking about those items I would rather have done so I don't have to put them on my New Year's resolution list. And they could be short things like, let's say that I decided that I needed to clean out paperwork or something. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to clean out all the paperwork for the last 6 months or something. Well, why wait till January? So I just start doing it so I don't have to have it on my list. So basically, I start my resolutions in December, so I figure I'd just move them up to before the holidays. So this year, I'm moving it way up, and instead of waiting until the holidays when it's the craziest time of year, I'm moving my New Year's resolution list to start on September 1st. Actually, September 3rd, so I don't get confused on weeks, but I'll use the days until then to fine-tune the goals. So in all honesty, I would normally do this over 4 quarters throughout the year, but I'm using this particular one to jumpstart my resolutions for 2019. And that's in part because we have a new business that we're starting, the print on demand, print to garment model that we're doing. So since we're starting that from scratch, I'm like, well, let's go ahead and tie that together with this particular model. And why I'm doing this, it's because so that way I can have a better idea of what I can realistically accomplish in 2019. So really, I'm not necessarily starting my New Year's resolutions now, but I kind of am. I'm kind of doing a dry run, right? So not to mention that e-commerce, the goals, you can get a huge head start with the holidays, and that can help determine the products, the designs, strategies, marketing, etc. I mean, you can learn a lot right now when there's just a lot of data to test at once. So what are New Year's resolutions? So according to Cambridge Dictionary, it's a promise that you make to yourself to start doing something good or stop doing something bad on the first day of the year. So I guess by that definition, it's really new September resolutions, but it's the same concept. So I have the big resolutions and then shorter goals that go with each. And among the goals, I have 3 areas that I focus upon. And then I shorten it to a 3-month period for completion. This follows the method called the 12-week year, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. So I have business goals for the next 12 weeks, personal goals for the next 12 weeks, and educational goals for the next 12 weeks. And I personally separate this out because of my PhD, but you could actually put educational goals under business or personal depending on the type of development you want to do. So the general resolutions, these are just going to be examples. These aren't necessarily what I'm going to end up. I obviously have a few days before I have to fine tune them, but this is just kind of generally what I might do. So build a profitable print on demand, print to garment business. If it was January, that might be something that I thought of. However, you might want to define profitable. So for example, build my print on demand business to $3,000 per month profit by the end of 2019. So that kind of makes it a little bit more specific and a little bit more obtainable because profitable is what, $1.50? I mean, you have to kind of define that, right? Then you might say lose X pounds by the end of 2019. So that's an example of like a personal one. And then complete the last phase of my PhD by March 2019. I actually want to be done by the end of 2018, but I don't have full control over that. So again, here's some examples of goals within that. So I'm going to say create X amount of designs over the next 12 weeks. So maybe I say create 2 designs per week for a total of 24 designs over the next 2 weeks. And I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit to show you guys that this is going to be broken out by weeks, but I want to show you the ideas and then you can kind of adapt them to you. And then of course create products for those 2 designs. So you have a design and then you put it on a product. And you can clarify on your list, if you decide to do it this way, you can clarify exactly which products if you choose. So like let's say you're going to do leggings and mugs. You can just say I'm going to create leggings and mugs for each of the designs. Or you can do the whole line or whatever. This is build Pinterest account. Now I'm going to leave it general and just break out goals per week because again, Pinterest, Facebook, all of these are things we really can't control, but there are actions that we can take to build each one of them. So if we take those actions, we should be building. And while we may not reach the goals we want, there's so many changes on both those platforms or any of the platforms right now that it's very difficult to say, oh, I want to increase by 10% or I increase by 50%. If you're starting from scratch, there's no way to know. So you can, if you do have a goal that you know that you are always increasing by 10%, and you want to try to increase by 20%, then you can figure out the steps that you would need to take. You know, you double the amount of work or whatever it is. So in this case, I'm going to put follow 200 people per week. And for those of you who have not had Pinterest training, you cannot do that all at one time. It's a max of 20 people per hour and no more than like 100 per day or something. That'll be in the Pinterest training that we do. So then I want to join 1 to 2 group boards every week. And I'm going to put until I cap out the number of related groups. Now, in week 1, I'll do research on that, right? So I'll find out how many groups and which groups I want to join. I may end up trying to join all of them the first week. It just depends on how long it takes me to do each thing. But I want to make realistic goals, right? So build the Facebook page. We need to schedule 2 content or shared posts per day. And you can schedule these in bulk, such as 1 day a week you schedule for the next 7 days. That's an example, right? Because we want to still keep hot content. So I don't want to schedule it out for maybe a month, probably just for the whole week. I mean, maybe 10 days or 12 days or something, but I wouldn't try to go out for like a month or 2 months or 3 months unless it's something that isn't required. Like, for example, in religion, typically that doesn't change. So you could probably schedule that out for a while. And then I want to announce new products. Now, I should also qualify here that I use syndication to announce products in all of my social media networks. And then I post using a blog. So that's really not much of a step for me. It's just automatically part of what I do. But I want to put that in there as part of building my Facebook page. And then build backlinks. Each new product gets 1 backlink from Facebook, Pinterest, Google+, etc. And again, I use my syndication network to get this to as many channels as possible at the time of launch. And then post 3 links each week on Yahoo Answers back to products on my store. Now, I may refine that to just say check weekly to see if there are questions that I can answer, because there may not be answers each week. There may not be 3 each week. There may not be 3 over 12 weeks. But I want to go ahead and check that and see if that's even a market for my products. So here's some examples of personal goals. So let's say exercise 3 times a week. Right? Let's say I don't exercise at all right now and I have really bad asthma, so that's actually a huge goal for me. Three times a week would be a huge improvement. And if I could do that with my asthma, that'd be wonderful. Drink at least 8 cups of water per day and eat 1 green vegetable each day. I know these may seem rather basic, but if it's something you need to do and you aren't doing it and you've identified that as something that can improve your health, they make pretty good personal goals. So if you don't make them as a goal, then you tend not to implement them. It's just one of those things. If you don't keep reminding yourself about that goal or about that need, you tend not to do it. So I'm going to put it on my list. We are very, very bad about eating vegetables that are good for us. We try to avoid the starchy vegetables, yet that's what we always end up eating. So my husband and I both said, we got to eat green vegetables, good vegetables. All right, so my educational goals. Of course, I have a PhD, so this isn't really going to apply to you, but my goal is going to complete a full draft ready for submission in October for review. Because I know that I have to dedicate a lot of time all at one lump time, I can't just do an hour here, an hour there. I'm going to start this in the last week of September so I can focus the end of September and the first couple of weeks of October to it, and that's when my class starts. So I put week 4 in there. Review 1 course per month related to business strategies or read 1 book per month. So I have access to different courses that I either purchase or whatever. I need to go through one of their modules or read one of the books or maybe a chapter. Every week, right? So that you can get through it. So every month you're accomplishing something. Some of you may want to just sit down and just say, okay, every Saturday that's what I'm going to do. If that's what if that's the time you have, you just have to decide what time you have. Now I also put read or review 1 course or book per month on personal development. And when I say personal development, I think like for example, learning how to manage your time. That's a good one, right? So that's more personal development, but it's also a business strategy. So you could do a one or the other. You can do whatever. And these do not need to be separate from business or personal goals, right? They could be part of your business and personal goals. I broke them out for educational purely because I have that PhD going on. Otherwise, I would have probably put this one as business and this one as personal. So after you've identified your goals, and as you saw, I did kind of do some weekly stuff. You need to break them into weekly activities. So what I did here is I said, okay, if I'm going to build a $3,000 per month profit print-on-demand company, what are those steps that I need to take? We know we need designs, marketing products, we need to develop skills, collect and review data. Those are going to be the 4 things that I'm going to need in order to develop a company, right? So, and there's some things that aren't on here, like build a website. It's not listed on here, right? That's something that I probably would need to do at some point. Now, I've already done that, but there's other things of that I need to do. So research, keyword, product, and audience research, designing the actual product, building each product. So, so this is more designing the design and then building the product. So if I have a design and I want to put it on leggings, I need to do that. And then, like we have a resource we're currently testing where we have to create a new file for every single product. So if we want leggings, shirt, it's not the same file like it is with Printex. So because of that, it takes time. So we swap our time for money again in this case, right? So of course there's mock-ups and writing the product description. And of course you can use a template for this, and I do recommend that if you find something that works for you, just use the template, just model it. Each one, it kind of mimics the other, but you adapt your keywords and maybe a couple other descriptive elements, right? So marketing products, I put listing products on Etsy and Shopify. Putting them on Etsy is a form of marketing in and of itself, right? Because when you do our keyword research, we're going to optimize the listing. That's a type of marketing. So putting it on Etsy and putting it on Shopify as an optimized listing is part of marketing. Then sharing information on social media and other online resources. You should have a specific marketing strategy. Like in this particular example, I show off, I mentioned Facebook and Pinterest, but Instagram, LinkedIn, there's a lot of different places that you can go, Twitter, that you can use to be your marketing avenue. And you should do your niche research and figure out which platform is the best. And then develop skills, learn more about specific marketing strategies, personal development, whatever it is. I need to keep developing my skills. So as Facebook changes, I need to keep up with that. As Pinterest changes, I need to keep up with that. And as I develop those skills and fine tune them, then that'll help me, speed up the process. So collecting review data, whichever. So you might not do this every week, but you do need to see what is working, what is not working. So you can fine tune your approach. And this would go back to, if you have optimized your listing and you're not showing up on page 1, what else can you do? And, that's part of our marketing strategies that we do. And we're not going to cover every single detail in here. These are just some examples. So here is an example of potential week 1. So I might say that I'm going to create 2 designs for print on demand, create 2 products from the designs, follow 200 people on Pinterest, and I actually use a tool for this. And I follow 30 to 50 people per day with that tool. So I don't do anything for this. So even though it's listed, it's something I'm doing, it doesn't take me any time. So that's one thing for me, whereas for somebody else, like if you don't have that tool, it's going to take you longer. And then research Pinterest groups. There are not really tools that can determine this. The Pinterest groups are really weird, and all the rules they have are weird, so you have to kind of do this manually. So schedule 14 posts for the week, and this is for Facebook, by the way. And of course, I use OctoSuite to find viral content to share, and if you are not aware, it is back up and running. It does take a workaround, but it's really easy and free for the workaround, not for OctoSuite. So the next one, post the 2 new product lines to Etsy and Shopify. And of course, if you don't have Shopify, you wouldn't do that. I have Shopify, so it goes to Shopify and it goes to Etsy. Post new products to Syndication Network. So for me, I put Syndication Network because, and that's with a blog. So I use a blog, I do the blog post, and then it automatically goes out to my Syndication Network. For you, it might be post the link to Twitter, post the link to LinkedIn, post the link to Facebook, post the link to Pinterest, post the link to, you might be going through each one manually. But for me, I'm going to do it so that it's automatically, I just do one blog post and then push it out. Then find 3 open questions on Yahoo Answers to respond and provide links back to one of my products. Now again, like I said, I may change that 3 and just say spend an hour a week or spend half an hour a week researching, checking Yahoo Answers. That might be something I do. Or every other week or whatever. And then I have exercise 3 days a week, minimum 30 minutes each. That's for that week 1. That's the personal. And then make healthy dinners. That's going to be part of my personal as well. And in my education, which I didn't add on here, but I'll have education stuff where I review a course or I build some time in. And if in week 1 you don't have time to add that, you put it into week 2, right? You may swap something out. And let me actually, so 100% is not your goal. That was the next thing I wanted to say. 100% is not your goal. We're not trying to go, okay, here are 15 things and I have to do all 15 things 100%. While we do strive to get everything completed, success is not based on 100% execution. According to the authors of the 12-week year, I think that's what it's called, they see significant success from participants reporting 85% execution. So what does this mean? It means perfection is not required to improve. You just need to make progress, right? You just need to make some progress. And if you have a to-do list, and you say, okay, these are the steps to make progress, and then you attack those steps every week, they're saying that 85% of if you reach 85% of your identified steps, you can still find significant success. And of course, success is different for everybody. So here's kind of an example. I pulled up Excel and I put my week 1 goals, and it's a little blurry. I don't know why, but so something that I had to do is I had to come in here and I had to, first of all, I don't get up at 7:30, but I'm going to try. So I'm going to get up early enough so that I can exercise in the morning, right? I added that in here. Then I put breakfast, though. I don't eat breakfast. I'm going to schedule it just in case, because I have no idea what's going to happen when I start exercising in the morning. I probably won't be hungry right after exercise. But I don't put that in there. I do have a 5-year-old I take care of, so it's probably a good idea for me to budget in some time to feed her. And then I have some flex time here. They don't call it flex time, but I'm calling it flex time. Then I have, for those who don't know, I homeschool my daughter, so I have booked time for her school. And the reason why this isn't all day, by the way, is because there's an amazing amount of time wasted at school. And because she's not doing that kind of stuff, it's not in there. But she may have more activities as she gets older, because there's a lot of things she can't do yet. But as she gets older, there may be more activities that I want to block out, like I have right here. She's going to Kids Fit. It only takes an hour, but it takes time afterwards to kind of settle her down and everything. So I kind of blocked off this time here. And then she has activities on Saturday morning. And then of course she has her school stuff. So I've figured out that it takes her, she can do in 2.5 hours, she can do about 2 days worth of school, and she ends up doubling it up. So I figure if I just book the 2.5 hours, then I'm pretty good. Or what did I do here? So 1, 2, I guess I did 3.5. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3.5 hours. If I book that time, I can always take off, I'll always have extra time. So if she's done with her schoolwork for the day, then she can be doing some activities, some coloring or whatever, and I can be working on work. So then we got lunch, and then I put some flex time after that. And then I have, on Monday, I do research, and that's so that this research will prep me for the rest of the week, right? So I'm going to do my keyword research, I'm going to do my audience research, I'm going to do whatever I need to. Now, ideally, you've identified some of this beforehand, so you're working off a list. But if you're not, week 1 may not look like this for you. Week 1 may be all research and learning, right? So I just want you guys to see that where you are will vary. What you put on here will vary significantly. I mean, if you work 9 to 5, you obviously aren't going to have stuff in the afternoon, and you're not going to have near as much time as I do. So, but like I have research here, and then I have scheduled Facebook posts, and then I have dinner that I need to do, and then I put planning and prep. And I have flex down here, and then I'm going to clean up and do prep work, and then I have some more flex time, because I don't know what time I'm going to go to bed, but I need to get to bed by midnight. So if I'm going to be up at 7:30 in the morning, I need to be to bed by midnight. Ideally earlier, because I do like my 8 hours of sleep. And then I have some spots that I haven't filled in all the way, but like one of the things I don't have on here is researching data, but I color coded this so you can see, right? So create 2 designs. I have design 1 and design 2. I know from experience, for me, that if I've done my research, it can take me about an hour to an hour and a half to create the design. Sometimes it takes me longer. So I may find out that, hey, I only got 1 design done this week, or maybe 2 designs, 1 here, and then maybe I fit another 1 in here. You need to adapt each week, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But so I have, and obviously here's our webinar day, and I do more webinar prep than this, but I made sure I scheduled that in there. So like down here, I might have extra time, like right now I'm doing a video, right? So I'm doing a video on one of these evenings, and that could be what I do, is I do one of the videos or do a couple other videos, whatever. Then let's see what else we have here. So follow 200 people. I made that 1 color because I don't actually have to do that, right? Even though it's on my list, I have a program doing that. And then schedule 14 Facebook posts. I have that right here after my research, because I'm doing my research. I'm going to schedule the post, and I'm done for the week. I'm done for that week. So I'm going to actually schedule this for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the following Monday, so I don't have to worry about it that day. And then that next Monday, I'll go ahead and schedule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more, or maybe even 8 more. I don't know. It just depends on how many I find. And then I'll keep doing that over and over and over again every week for the next 12 weeks to increase my Facebook reach. Now, of course, my product being posted to Facebook is going to come through my syndication network. So I have my blog post 1 and my blog post 2. That's for product 1 and product 2. And it shouldn't take me very long. I'm just announcing the product, doing a quick little, info about it, putting it on my blog site, and then it's going to it'll go out automatically to my syndication network. So that's what I'm doing. And then I will also probably come back in here and add in some time where I'm going to do manual pins back to Etsy, straight from Pinterest to Etsy. So that way, with my keywords, my optimized keywords. But otherwise, I would probably also do that for, the syndication network will post it automatically, but it doesn't post it with my keywords necessarily. It kind of does, but we'll just say there's things that I need to look at for that, right? So this is completely flexible and completely adaptable to your specific needs. So if you can't do it here, maybe you're doing it here. A bunch of you guys probably don't have 5-year-olds. So if you don't have a 5-year-old, you probably aren't doing as much. And see, here I even have EP Laser. This is my other company, and I need to do specific activities for that. So I don't have that on this one, but that's what I'm doing. So week 1 might be prep work for you, right? Not everyone has as much time as I do for business activities, so you may have smaller goals. You may create 4 new designs in 12 weeks and then alternate research on the other weeks. If you know that one marketing location is better than others, if you know Instagram is where you need to be, you may want to just focus on Instagram or Pinterest or whichever it is that you've identified. So if you've done your niche research and you've done your marketing research, your platform research, you should at least have an idea of where that is, though I do recommend you test others as well. In this particular example, I have Facebook, Pinterest, and Yahoo Answers as my core marketing efforts, as well as a syndication network helping with driving traffic and creating backlinks. Now, the syndication network is going to push the information out to Instagram. It's going to push it out to all these other places that I'm not on, so I still have a chance to be found on those platforms. So I should also qualify this that I'm using tools to speed up the process. So I'm using AutoSuite for Facebook research. That doesn't cost very much, but it's something that needs to get done. I'm using Pinterest to build my followers. Again, I'm using a tool for that. So that doesn't take so much time. And I'm using Webfire to help with Yahoo Answers. So using the tools is helping. And then, of course, I use tools and software to speed up keyword research. So something that takes me an hour, hour and a half might take you 4 hours. There might be stuff you have to learn. You might spend 2 weeks learning about it first. You will eventually build faster. You have to start somewhere, though. So your weeks might look something like this. So in week 1, you're learning the process and you're doing niche research. In week 2, you're building your first product and learning Etsy. In week 3, you're learning about Facebook marketing and practicing with the first product. In week 4, you're learning about Pinterest marketing and practicing with the first product. In week 5, you might create 2 new products. In week 6, you might market the 2 new products to both Facebook and Pinterest or wherever else you've decided. And then maybe by week 7, you are creating 3 new products. Maybe you sped up and you're like, oh, hey, I can fit in a 3rd new product and I can market a 3rd product. You may end up saying, hey, I can't do more than 1 product at a time. And you may end up saying, okay, well, marketing it's not taking very much time, or it's so quick that I'm good with this and I can create 5 products on 1 week and then spend the next week marketing the products. I mean, there's all different things that you may find that they are. And of course, these are main goals for each week. You'll still have steps with each one of these. You still need to do your keyword research and everything, but you could theoretically just do keyword research in week 1, and then that would build out how, like when I do keyword research, I identify like 19 potential products, 19 potential keywords, and then I could build multiple products off of each one of those keywords. So that's typically what I do, is start with the keyword research, and I could spend 2 hours doing that, or longer. It just depends. It just depends on what I'm doing. So there are no hard and fast rules to this. So you need to adapt each week. If you find after the first week that you're only reaching 20% of your goals that week, you should probably adapt your goals for each week. So yeah, I understand you want to stretch yourself, but you cannot be unrealistic. Remember, we're aiming for 85%. And then the first time I did this, I hit maybe 25% of the goals for the week. I realized that I needed to add more flex time. That's the Kimtara course. So I could fit in miscellaneous activities. So things that came up. And what we found was we had a security company, and I would have, all the days scheduled full of my activities, and then we would have our person that came in and answered phones would disappear for 3 days, and they'd say, oh, well, I scheduled it off, and I wouldn't know or whatever, and so my entire week was blown. So it felt like I was always starting over, but that's what happens if you don't have enough time in there to deal with chaos. And so, for me, now that we're closing our security company, I'll have more time. So another thing I learned is flexibility. And the book actually encourages more of just blocking off time to work on stuff instead of assigning specific tasks. So you're like, okay, work here, and then you kind of have work off of a checklist of your tasks. But for me, it's easier to prepare if I know what I need the next day. So I have my stuff split between my computers, which one day I'll combine them, but it's not a priority for me right now. But I need to know like which computer or what notebook I need. So if I'm going to do keyword research for, something, I may need to pull that out, or I might need to pull out, find my notes on my computer, whatever it is. So knowing that, I can pull all that and have it ready the day before or the night before, And I am by no means a coach or expert on this topic. This is just one way I've learned to help manage my time and actually make some progress. So your first book for your list, if you're interested in the 12-week year, get more done in 12 weeks than others do in 12 months, you can get it on Amazon. And we've created a special link to take you there, and it's just go to littlebizresources.com/12week, and that'll take you straight to the book that you need. And then that's it. So let me know if you have any questions.